I'm Sorry Luxon, and this is lesson 32. Why so serious? So, we've been discussing polarity and how it's both the earliest and the most ongoing task of the magical practitioner to become depolarized. Because, among many other reasons, it gives you control of yourself while making it incredibly difficult for others to control you, which actually is a very serious subject and very important. I'm going to try to keep today's lesson fairly short because I've already gone into this at some length. But there are still some people who don't seem to quite be completely understanding why depolarization is so fundamental to magic, why you have to do this particular aspect of the great work before other magic can be done or is worth attempting to do. Polarized individuals are reactive and can be influenced easily. It's a simple thing, for instance, to choose a subject that a polarized person disagrees with. Choose something someone disagrees with you on. Have them become contentious or argumentative. And then if you wanted to, you could slip in any suggestion that you wished, as if it weren't your own adhered to opinion. And that person in a highly polarized state is going to take it up. They are going to pick up that suggestion you provided along with everything else they're reacting to and choosing to argue against, as if it's their own opinion, without ever realizing that they're being made to think, behave, speak however you want because they are opposed to you and therefore will also be very easy to bring into opposition against anything else that you want, anything else that you say. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that to people. In reality, most adepts pay little attention to the unbalanced states of those around us, right? And we're certainly not expending a great deal of time or energy trying to take advantage of those unbalanced states, because to do otherwise would leave little time in our day for anything else, right? Because that's where most people are functioning from, a very polarized state. But it is a simple enough thing to do. To influence the mind and actions of a polarized person is easy, which is why there is great wisdom in applying yourself to the method of becoming depolarized, so that you can't be easily moved or manipulated by the many shifting fields around you. They're not always argumentative individuals, right? There are all sorts of fields: physical fields, emotional fields, energetic fields. They all carry polarity, and being depolarized is going to help you not be influenced by all of them. For instance, if or when someone is in a polarized state directed against you, right? Being able to not react to that automatically is key. So here's where you can think of Batman if you want, right? That's why he said, why so serious? That's what the Joker accuses him of in that movie, right? Batman is this very serious guy, and the Joker wants nothing else but to drag Batman into a reaction, into a polarized state with him. But Batman stays stoic, right? He stays serious. And there's a reason for that, right? It comes across as emotionless, like he has no emotion, the stoicism that he's adhering to. But Batman isn't necessarily without emotion, right? He's serious, or rather neutral, balanced, depolarized, never reactive, but rather acting willfully, hopefully. In general, if he's doing a good job of it, right, he's acting willfully, beyond, say, the Joker's ability to upset him, right? Because when Batman gets upset, that's what leads to mistakes being made. See how that works? When Batman's girlfriend gets tossed out a window, for example, right? There's that one movie where the Joker's, at that party and he throws the girl out the window. Does Batman start screaming in fear, which would be a polarized reaction to what the Joker has done? No, he doesn't, right? He remains in control. He remains masterful. Is Batman overwhelmed with stress or panic or grief or anxiety, right? Does he freeze? No. Does he decide to yell back at the Joker as the Joker's teasing him and taunting him, right? Does Batman get into a yelling match, a verbal sparring match with the Joker for 20 minutes or more because the Joker's trying to do that? No, right? If anything, Batman's answers are short and concise. He doesn't even want to be talking to that guy, and because he doesn't want to be talking to that guy, that's all you're getting from him. The action of, I don't want to waste time talking to you. So when someone's trying to pick a fight with Batman, Batman doesn't fight. He doesn't argue back. He doesn't get involved in these draining, useless shoving matches emotionally, verbally. He doesn't do that. He remains, right, what looks to be emotionless, but is actually a state of prepared depolarization. And I state that it's prepared. I'm saying prepared because being balanced, being grounded, being depolarized, right? That leaves him free to act rather than react, right? So he's in this preparedness. He can act immediately without even the briefest hesitations because he's choosing to act rather than to react. And honestly, if he had been really on his game that day in that particular instance I brought up, right, when that girl goes flying out that window, if he had been even more depolarized, even less affected by the Joker's actions, he probably could have preemptively stopped her being tossed out the window before it even happened. I don't know, a bat lasso or something, just as the Joker's getting ready to do it, right? But he is a little bit off his game because he's a little bit emotional, because that's someone he really cares about. And this is the problem being portrayed in this film, right? That even Batman's magic, even Batman's masterful training, right? Because he is training in these yogic arts. It's being reduced by emotion. His ability to function well gets reduced when he's polarized. If he gets angry, he makes mistakes. If he gets scared, it slows him down. When he gets sad, he makes errors. Maybe this wasn't the best metaphor to use Batman because Batman, I think, does have some seriously sociopathic tendencies, right, that are highlighted. But hopefully you get the main gist of what I'm saying here. Why so serious? Because masters are serious, right? So that even a highly trained yogi can be influenced and manipulated if they can be pulled into a polarized state. If you can be pulled into polarity, you can be manipulated. While any magician who can remain, or yogi, or Batman, right? Anyone who can remain depolarized is going to remain in authority. They're going to remain masterfully in control of anyone or nearly anything that they want to be in control of. Not allowing their anger to provoke a reaction, for instance, because if you react instead of choosing by will how to act, then you're going to enter into that mindless dynamic with them. And then you just have two people arguing uselessly and nothing is being achieved by either, right? People are going to come at you. They're going to argue with you. And not allowing their argument to become yours is a big part of what depolarization is. Be the person directing their energy rather than expending it exhaustively without result. It does require that you gain enough skill that your ego doesn't rise to the surface emotionally, right? That your ego isn't coming up to combat every situation where a person argues with you, offends you, insults you, is rude or inconsiderate towards you, yells at you, curses at you, gets in your face maybe, right? Invades your physical space or maybe even gets physical with you. All of those polarized sorts of behaviors you might come across in others. You're going to need to depolarize enough that your ego doesn't rise up and take center stage every time someone else's does. But once you start to get a handle on that, you'll see what adepts know of how being able to remain in a non-reactive, depolarized position is going to provide you with constant and useful, powerful control over just about any situation. Like any other of the great magical skills, the practice of becoming and remaining depolarized is a tool that you can either pick up and learn to use or ignore and never have any access to. You would be amazed what can be achieved through the effective use of polarity, of just polarity by itself. But in order to use that, you really do have to be depolarized yourself. Otherwise, you can't direct it willfully or well. This might be getting repetitive for some, but acquiring a certain amount of patience is wonderful practice on remaining grounded and centered. The truth is, I'm fine with the impatient persons wandering away from this and my other little YouTube podcasts, right? I'm totally okay with egoic or short attention span or impatient people wandering away from this and my other teachings without acquiring the abilities being discussed in them. Not everyone is ready for the great art or the expertise that mastery brings, nor is everyone prepared to hold and use the tools being provided, right? Certainly not those who are prone to traits like impatience. You don't want to give someone who's really impatient a lot of power. You see, like so much else in the great craft, some safeguards are built right into the system. Because there really are elements of magic you can never have access to until you are entirely ready to cross those thresholds. We can all think of examples where someone or something has been invested with more power than they or it was prepared to employ correctly, right? Magic is no exception to that. For those who aren't bored and are choosing to persist in their craft, those who are perhaps struggling with the techniques and application of depolarization because they can sense or maybe see for themselves already the power that's inherent in these practices, the reward the work will bring. Keep at it. It often is a struggle at first. As with other habits, the more you do it, the easier it will become, until remaining depolarized is a habit for you as it is for all adepts who persist in honing their abilities. Practice makes persistent, after all. So practice to create the persistence that will be second nature to you later. Soon enough, being and remaining depolarized will not be something you do, but rather like magic itself, it will become something you are. What you focus on manifests. It's a very simple sentence. It's simple to say, but sit with that simple sentence for a while. What you focus on manifests. It's a function of all energy. If you focus on depolarization work, being depolarized will manifest within you. Where you place your focus is where energy goes. What you look at, you see. What you think, you are. What you focus on manifests. Until next time.